Guys, if you know Mark Ruffalo, you'll all agree with me that he has achieved various levels of recognition and success in his acting career, exemplified by his role in Zodiac as Inspector David Toschi and the Incredible Hulk in The Avengers. He has earned many accolades for his performances, including the Emmy for The Normal Heart and the BAFTA Humanitarian Award in 2014. But do you know how all of these accolades have also been defined by a tragic history? Let's explore some of the defining moments of his tragic past. Though it may be assumed he had an easy journey to his current level of recognition, Ruffalo admitted to Parade that this was not the case. Here are some of the hardships of Mark Ruffalo's life. First, let's start with some of his darkest times. Mark Ruffalo has been affected by depression since his childhood. He often felt excluded in school. In a discussion with New York Magazine, Ruffalo elucidated his difficulties after finishing high school. While he was still in high school, his classmates would talk about their future objectives, and his parents would inquire about his plans after graduation. Although Ruffalo desired to be an actor, he was ashamed and lied. He stated that he spent most of his time smoking, surfing, and aimlessly wandering around, a period when he was almost prepared to jump off a bridge. In an interview with The Observer, Ruffalo commented on his depression, saying it was dysthymia. It is a long-term, low-grade depression all the time that he had been contending with that his entire life. He added that it felt like a low-grade depression that is always present in the background. Another tragic moment occurred when he lost one of his dear friends. When Mark Ruffalo was studying at the Stella Adler Conservatory in Los Angeles, he had a close friend named Michael. They became friends through their interests, beliefs, and experiences. In an interview with Parade, Ruffalo said that they could talk to each other since they had the same level of sadness. Unfortunately, Michael passed away in 1994 due to suicide, and it had a huge impact on Ruffalo. As the actor recalled, when he died, it rocked him out of a dark depression, and the moment he left, he realized that death wasn't an escape and that suicide wasn't an answer. This occurrence made Ruffalo value his life more, and acting became a way for him to heal and cope with his grief. Next was the moment of his health crisis. Following a troubling dream of a brain tumor, Ruffalo consulted a doctor and underwent a CAT scan, which revealed that he had acoustic neuroma. As his wife was pregnant with their first child, he remained secretive about his diagnosis for a few weeks following the birth of his son, Keen. Subsequently, surgery to remove the tumor was successful, but this came at the cost of partial hearing loss in his left ear as well as facial paralysis. This difficult situation also occurred during a period of Ruffalo's life in which he was gaining momentum in his career, working on the 2001 film The Last Castle with Robert Redford and James Gandolfini. Sadly, he was forced to withdraw from acting due to the health issues and their effects. We then take a look at his long road to recovery. Even though the tumor was extracted, the paralysis of the left side of Mark Ruffalo's face caused him to go through a lot of trouble. He secluded himself from his colleagues and acquaintances, struggling to accept the fact that he could not be employed at that point. As Ruffalo told New York Magazine, he decided to contact director M. Night Shyamalan to keep his role in the forthcoming movie Signs. He stated he was planning things for his character, and he had a motorcycle accident and he's paralyzed on the left side of his face. Shyamalan agreed to contemplate the proposal, but sadly it did not happen. As Ruffalo's doctor stated, he was not physically fit enough to return to his job. He had been hospitalized only a week before, and they concluded that his immune system was not strong enough for him to work again. In an interview with The Telegraph, Ruffalo revealed that the likelihood of fully restoring his facial muscle function after 6 months of paralysis was very slim. Nevertheless, he was able to make slight movements after the duration of paralysis, indicating the commencement of a recovery which took a few more months. He also considered it a painful process. Overcoming the paralysis was already a tough task, but the way to rehabilitation had its own set of issues. According to Ruffalo, he had gained 40 pounds after the surgery. The medications prescribed to him caused a lack of equilibrium. While the actor described this side effect as amusing, it also hindered him from assisting with his children. In one case, he even dropped his son. He was also perplexed and found it challenging to grasp basics such as tying a knot. In an interview with the Acoustic Neuroma Association about his journey before and after the operation, Ruffalo stated that he focused on trying to move his facial muscles for about an hour each day. He would also walk for miles every day. These two activities helped to hasten his healing and recover his equilibrium. Ruffalo also revealed that he underwent a range of therapies to help lessen the paralysis, including acupuncture, herbal treatment, massage, and other forms of alternative medicine. He then suffered from the shackles of the rumor mill. After being diagnosed with paralysis, Ruffalo remained out of the spotlight for approximately 1 year to place his focus on his healing. Though desiring to come back to acting, his medical professionals urged him not to. During this time, Ruffalo kept the information of his condition confidential apart from his close friends and family. He recollected, "I had no wish to receive visitors. I was very distressed, and worse still were the reactions of people. It was devastating. It looked to his supporters as if he had vanished into nothingness. When he took a break from acting, many wondered what had occurred. He claimed, there were all sorts of rumors as to what had befallen me: drugs, alcoholism, AIDS. Ultimately, news spread of Ruffalo's diagnosis and and subsequent operation ending the speculation. There was also a moment of death in his family. Sadly, Ruffalo's companion was not the only individual close to him who passed away without warning. According to the Los Angeles Times, on December 8, 2008, Mark's brother Scott expired a week following being struck in the head in his own home. At first, it seemed like Scott's death was possibly a mischance from a game of Russian roulette. However, eventually, the case was put down as a homicide. The police interviewed Saha Misal Adam and her boyfriend Brian Schofield after they came forward voluntarily. As per Adam, she visited Scott to get the keys to her car. She said to the police that while she was with Scott, he brought up something regarding Russian roulette, and she heard a gunshot soon after. The police arrested Adam, yet in the end released her, and no charges were filed. On January 6, 2012, Adam passed away, leaving the case with the absence of a key witness. Scott Ruffalo's homicide is still unsolved. Another hard time was when he went for a temporary retirement. In the wake of his brother's demise, Ruffalo decided to take a break from Hollywood. During an interview with The Telegraph, he declared that he had already been considering stepping away from the industry due to his growing disappointment with it. "My brother's death was the straw that broke the camel's back," he reminisced. "It reminded me that life is short and I should make the most of it while I still can." Thus, Ruffalo discharged his agent and publicist, abandoned his LA flat, and relocated to an isolated house in upstate New York with his wife and 3 kids. Nevertheless, Ruffalo wasn't able to completely detach himself from the Hollywood lifestyle. He made his debut as a director with Symphony for Delicious, a movie about a disabled DJ who ventures into faith healing. The film was already in pre-production at the time of Scott's passing, and it was released in 2010. Even though he kept working on his movie, Ruffalo remained retired from acting until he read the script for The Kids Are All Right. The hardships were also significantly defined by his medical woes. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Ruffalo elucidated that meditation aided him in handling his anxiety. He became aware of its advantages through a comrade who overcame addiction to some degree through the implementation of a meditation program. Upon seeing the advantageous transformations in the other individual, Ruffalo was exposed to the practice of meditation, which he lauds for entirely altering his perspective. Essentially, it is a daily habit that pacifies your mind, and unbelievably enough, it slows down time, so you're not so much caught in your instantaneous reactions to situations, he clarified. "My work started to change. My fortune started to change. The way the world appeared to me changed." Another dark time was when he was involved in fighting for a cause. In 2010, Ruffalo lent his support to the movie Gasland, a documentary exploring the ramifications of fracking. This caused the Pennsylvania Department of Homeland Security to take notice, and stories were circulating that the actor had been included on the U.S. terrorist advisory list. When asked about it, Ruffalo told GQ via Fox News that he found the allegation humorous. Nonetheless, multiple sources still ran stories about his suspected terrorist links. Ruffalo asserted that many media outlets took the story of Scott Ruffalo's unsolved murder and added to it without checking to confirm the accuracy. To make the narrative more interesting, he noted that it was not until the Washington Times verified the facts that the story finally dissipated. Further, James Powers, the director of the Pennsylvania Office of Homeland Security, gave up his post when reports of the unauthorized surveillance of activist groups started to come to light. Last but not least, he was also diagnosed so late at some point. In addition to the Ruffalo family's financial deprivation, Mark's early years were also fraught with educational adversity. In an interview with Parade, Mark recollected his scholastic experience as a difficult one, saying he found it challenging. He had an acute sense of the fragility of humans and the sadness of life, and he had no idea how to handle the situation or how to fit in. After his early life, Ruffalo identified that some of the elements that led to his seclusion may have been undiscovered ADHD and dyslexia. In May 2017, he associated with the Child Mind Institute for their #MyYoungerSelf campaign, which saw celebrities discuss what they would have told their younger selves while living with a mental health or learning disorder. Once he had started a family, Mark relocated their upstate New York home to New York City so his children could attend a school with a quality program for dyslexic pupils to avoid his children having to confront the same difficulties he had gone through. Anyway, guys, we would love to hear your thoughts on what you think about some of these difficult moments he underwent. Also, feel free to share your thoughts on how you think these events made him an even better actor. And lastly, remember to subscribe and like our content for more like these. Cheers, and see you next time.